two special guests, as I mentioned in the intro. Sitting above me on this Zoom call, I've got Dave Poulton, and below me, I've got Phil PeeKay Kethel. I've got the PeeKay shirt on for you tonight, Phil, and I've got the PeeKay picture in the background on the Zoom. I think we'll put this out as a YouTube episode. If you want to check out these two fine gentlemen, you can flick across to the My Love of Golf YouTube channel and just immerse yourself in an hour's worth of conversation with me and these two fine lads. Gents, Poults, I'll probably come to you first. How are you? Thanks for joining this special episode of the My Love of Golf podcast. It's a special episode. Obviously, we're wrapping up the Teepster year. We're wrapping up the Tour Championship. It goes into a little bit of a quiet period before the Ryder Cup excitement happens. But thanks for joining. How are you going up there?
Good, thanks, Roscoe. Thanks for having me. It's a bit like being behind the scenes of your favourite TV show. I'm very excited to see how all the magic works.
Oh, it's there's not a lot of fairy dust being sprinkled. It's just having a chat. But I do appreciate you coming on and helping out. PeeKay, it's good to see you again. We haven't tonight has to be under better circumstances than the last time we got together. What was it, 6-1 drubbing of my favourite football team, Melbourne City. We came down and chummed me right there on the sidelines behind my favourite team getting walloped in the grand final. It's good to see you again.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Unlike Poults, as long time listener, first time co-host or appearance. Nothing more awkward than like you said, sitting through that for 90 minutes, especially being Sydney FC supporter, being in row one of the Melbourne City active support area. So
row one, there couldn't have been a worse place to watch it. I think there's a couple of boys at Melbourne City who listen to this. Josh Bondon, who's like the team manager, team kit manager, and all of the admin of the getting everything ready for preparation for the guys to get out and play. He listens a lot, and so he won't like me reminding him of that. But it was a hard place to sit that night, row one, like right behind the goals where we just got slammed. But it was good to see my young fella working, and thank you for your support of listening to my young fella and his commentary. He had his big moment on the weekend on TV on Channel 10. Did the young Lockie Flanagan, so it was good to hear him, and I think you were listening in, so thanks for that. Gents, I've got to say a big thanks to both of you because, and that's the reason why I've asked you on to say thank you, because, you've both been absolute crackerjack long-term supporters of My Love of Golf, and you really do represent what My Love of Golf podcast is all about. It's not about me. It's about the people that listen, the people that engage, and the people that really embrace the concept of loving golf. And, you two are cities apart, but, you both know each other through, this great community that we've got here in Australia of golf lovers. I probably met both of you through Poults, your trivia back in lockdown. And, when Rocket and I came on, PeeKay was sitting there participating. It was a great thing that you did. I've maybe said that before. But you've both been immense supporters of the podcast, like weekly sharing the episodes, putting some bullet points in your social media posts about the things that you liked, learnt, loved, or otherwise. And it just means the world to us. And it's the reason why, myself and Scott, keep turning up, and, before that, Mike and Rocket and everyone that's been involved. And so I just wanted to say a massive thanks. And I guess as, wrapping up this Teepster season and this tour season, it was no one more appropriate to have on as both of you guys, because you've been, great supporters throughout the year. So I just wanted to say thank you from us, Scott and myself, and the guys that I mentioned before for coming on. Poults, I'll go to you first. Why do you listen? Why do you, you said it's like getting a tour behind your favourite TV show. There's not much going on. There's a screen here and a couple of pictures and a bit of soundproofing and a microphone. What do you like about podcasts?
There's a couple of, it's not just I think I got into podcasts during lockdown. Hamish and Andy, the Howie Games, and I sort of go through it weekly. And I've just got that perfect length commute to work where I can have a podcast on the way and on the way back. The thing about your podcast, and I think I've messaged you over the years, it feels like I've played a round of golf with you and you're just in the bar afterwards having lunch. It just feels natural and easy. I started listening way back when it was you interviewing a guest, and then along came Rocket. and Rocket did Rocket things, and then Magic Mike jumped in, and it just felt natural, and it's a very easy listen. I've met both of those gents due to listening to your podcast. Rocket, about a month ago, was down in Melbourne watching his Bombers, and Magic Mike, I met him at the St Andrews Beach Pro-Am, which my mate Jimmy ran. And it's just, I think as golfers, we've got that nature where we can start talking to people and therefore start listening to people pretty easily. And it's been something that it's just sort of built into the week, that it rolls around on Wednesday or Thursday or whenever it might drop, and I'll listen pretty quickly. I don't go to the effort of making memes like some. And if you're talking about Teepster, I do need to, I think it's 2 years in a row where I'm basically the naga of people that actually tip. There's plenty that don't tip. I'm hoping there's a naga prize. You talk about the Drummond's voucher last year for whoever won the majors and whoever won overall. There's got to be something for propping up the ladder. I feel like I'm North Melbourne 2 years in a row.
Did you win the last week? Did you win the last week and get off the bottom?
No. I've got a little man who does it as well, and he's increasing his love of golf. And he often asks me, who did you tip? And I sort of try my best to usher him away from what I've gone for. But this week he tipped the same as me. And and it was a bit frosty come Monday when we were nowhere near taking the chocolates.
You mentioned your young son there, Tom, who I've also had the pleasure of meeting, and again, supporting not only the podcast, but through the work that I do with Drum and Golf, you've been very supportive of Drum and Golf and also Drum and Golf Melbourne. But you brought young Tommy into the store, and he's had his he goes on the simulators there, which he loves. And when I saw the name Hippo on the Teepster tipping sheet, I thought that it might have been him, but I thought, no, he must be 6 or 7 or 8 or somewhere around there. He's surely not going to be playing the tipping game. But you surprised me tonight when you came on and said, yeah, that's him. Yeah, he's tipping.
Yeah, that's him. He's just come second in my school footy tips as well, and beaten me. So he loves the guessing element of things, and then following through. So guessing on a Tuesday or Wednesday night who's going to go okay, and then coming back and checking. He won't sit there for hours and watch the golf, but he'll quiz me on Monday or Tuesday how his pick went and how my pick went. It's just something that we sort of do together for a bit of connection. And that day that we came into Drummond, Melbourne, my old man was there as well. So, or Tom's been a few times, but we had 3 generations come to your shop. And that's another reason why I love golf, and the connections you make with, and being able to spend more time with family as well. It's not a high intensity sport. You can cruise around with a now 7-year-old or a now 70-something-year-old, the old man. So it's great. And people like you, Roscoe, I've called you the godfather of Victorian golf a few times on my Instagram. I think it's great what you're doing to make sure that people like Phil and I have something to listen to and connect to.
Thank you. Godfather by age, definitely. I'm certainly the oldest that seem to think that does this. Maybe, I'm not sure if Mark Allen, I think Mark Allen and I may be the same age, but I think Mark Allen's older than me. I'll be corrected wrong, but we're certainly the oldest. Phil, what about you up there in Sydney? Your golf journey. I see you've got your hat on there for what's the society up there called now? The new society that's not only just Sydney but Australia wide, and I think, funnily enough, also supported by Drum and Golf. And you're the captain of the Sydney chapter. That's
correct. So this is Golf Crew Australia. They're, like I said, they're based out of Queensland, and they've got a few different crews in different regions. I think they've been going like 5-6 years. I'm starting up the Sydney one next year. There's also one over in Perth kicking off as well. There's also Adelaide, Orange, and like I said, there's the rest of them are up in Queensland, in Townsville, Gold Coast, Sunshine Coast, and each chapter of the GCA is supported by a drum and golf store. So with Sydney, we've linked up with the guys out at Stanmore, so Craig and the team out there. So looking forward to getting over there and, like I said, meeting them face to face and just like I said, I've got one close to us on the northern beaches on DY already, in which that's the only place I go for my golf stuff. So looking forward to continuing that relationship with the guys out at Stanmore.
Where do you play your golf up there in Sydney, PeeKay?
It's currently very infrequent, as much like your own sort of golf. I'm just with the local social club through the RSL club. They have games every 2 weeks, but if I play once a month, then that's pretty much enough for me. I do have a GA through a country club. That was just for ease and for financial reasons at the time. So yeah, that's the other good thing with the golf crew. All their competitions run through like the GA handicap, so that'll help hopefully bring that down. But we'll wait and see.
If people want to join you at the golf crew, especially if they're in Sydney, how do they just get hold of the Golf Crew Australia through the socials and stuff like that?
Yeah, so Golf Crew Australia is the main page. So they run all the Instagram interactions for all the crews. But like I said, you can also reach out to me directly, pk.official. And like I said, we're kicking off next year. We're probably only going to have, I think, about 6 season events. But most of the other sort of well-established crews have 10, 12 events in a year. They get together at the end of each year. Different crews take the turns to host the club championships. So with us being the new boys on deck next year, it'll be at Sydney at the coast. So a bit like, again, what the DP European Tour have, like the race to Dubai, and I guess you can say PGA Tour have race to Eastlake. Each one of the crews in GCA have a race to a final destination. So our inaugural season next year is race to the coast.
One of the finest pieces of stretches of golf property in Australia, definitely. Underutilized, underdeveloped. I can only imagine if some great architects got their hands on that coast, St Michael's. New South Wales is a different story, but they're all joined up. And imagine what that could be. It could be the Cabot Cliffs, the abandoned dunes of the Southern Hemisphere. If a few people just put their heads together. Anyway, that's another story.
Yeah.
Hey, Dave.
Yep.
You just heard PeeKay say that he and I don't play a lot of golf. Spend a lot of time at a golf course and in and around golf, not playing that sort of regular Wednesday, Saturday comp. But I think you make up for both of us by 10.
Yeah, I'm very excited that the days are getting a little bit longer now. It's just from where I work to where I play, it's just getting long enough now that we can sneak in 9 holes. I'm lucky enough to play at a course that has 27 holes and a 9-hole par 3 track, as well as 3 balls on the range. So we're noticing that the driving range at the moment is getting very full, and there's lots of little 5 and 6 hole layouts that you can use. But now that the sun's stretching the day a little bit longer, we're spending a bit more time out there. I haven't played as much as I'd like lately. Went down to Leongatha a couple of weeks ago, and it did not stop raining all day and 4 days to dry the clubs out. But I did get a hit on Sunday. Should have worn shorts, but didn't. But it's at that time of year where we can get out there a little bit more, which is fantastic.
So that's out at Easton you're talking about. So that's your home track, yeah, where you're obviously a stalwart member of the Pennant Brigade out there as well.
Yeah, Easton's home, which is great. It's had some recently relocated about 9 years ago from Doncaster out to Yering. Huge piece of property, huge piece of land. 27 holes plus the 9-hole, and could easily be more. And it's had some troubles as it's right on the floodplain next to the Yarra, similar to Kew, Greenacres, Latrobe. When those 3 courses flood, of course Easton's going to as well. So there's been troubles over the years, but it's been the best winter we've had just gone, and it's actually looking pretty good considering it's late August at the moment. So we're really looking forward to spring and longer days and getting out there as much as possible.
Oh, we'll have to come out and have a hit out there. I was out there for the Survivor Golf this year, and just blown away by that view. You're looking from the clubhouse back through the valley there. It's just amazing. Flew the drone around, as you've seen. I've sent you some photos, and but I haven't played, so it looks good. Who designed that course? Is that a Greg
That
Norman?
was Greg Norman.
Greg Norman, yeah.
Greg and his team, yep.
Yeah. And pennant practice. What we know is it doesn't take too long for pennant practice to come back around, which you love that stuff, you know. Like
I like representing the club.
When does that start? October, November?
We're a bit slack with the practice, and this season just gone showed that, but it's almost time again where the group chats will start up and just teeing it up with the boys a little bit. We weren't overly successful last season, got relegated from Div 3 back to Div 4, so hoping for a bit more success in 2024. And all the courses nearby this year coming up. So there's Heritage, Gardener's Run. So I think the furthest that we've got to travel is Amesbury, but if you take that out of it, it's Box Hill's probably the closest. So we're looking forward to a lot of close courses. But yeah, I think most courses start something around October, November, so it won't be too far away.
Hey, let's talk about the rundown of last week's golf, and I think there's another tournament in Europe this week in the DP World Tour, the European Masters. But firstly, let's just wrap up that last year's Teepster season, culminated in the Tour Championship at Eastlake last weekend. We all know by now Victor Hovland dominated. We all know by now that I had Victor Hovland available and may have selected him, may have unselected him, and duly cost myself.
Surely you kept him. Surely.
No, I didn't. I was too clever by half. I had 7 of the top 10 available to choose from, so my choice was a hard choice, right? You know, choosing one out of the 7 of the top 10 players in the list available. Of course, I went with Matt Fitzpatrick. Of course, that was only a just natural second selection, wasn't it? I thought that I was just too clever, that Victor Hovland wouldn't go back to back and just clean sweep the thing, and Matt Fitzpatrick, who didn't play too bad the week before, would do nothing, and that's exactly what happened. So Victor Hovland.
He still got top 10 for you.
He did, yes. He T9. He got a top 10, but had I picked Victor Hovland, I would have beat the Ultimate Winners, and that's not to take anything away from the Ultimate Winners, who of course was David Blakey, Golfers and Attitude, Golf Rules Questions, and second place, my more recent guest, Dan Maudsley. He was very keen to get the first position, but I think it just came down to who they had available at the end of it there. No one had 7 of the top 10 FedEx Cup list to choose other than me. What a strategy. What a fail.
An embarrassment of riches that you've got there. I see Matt Fitzpatrick got you 542,000 for that one, Roscoe, and a fair few others also had Matt Fitzpatrick and Max Homer, which also got the same amount of money for you. But there were 4 people. 4 people had Victor available and picked him and stuck with him.
Yes, got their 3.6 million. So if you look at my total of 18.79 million, deduct 500,000, add 3.6, and factoring in that the other 2. Anyway, congratulations, Blakey, and congratulations, Golfing Tadeus, and thank you for everyone who did play. Back to the tournament. Thoughts on how Victor sounded that out? You know, it was a dominant performance. He's in unbelievable form, especially coming into that Ryder Cup season. What PeeKay, what did you take away from last week's Tour Championship finale?
Look, it was just a clinic in all facets of of his game. Like, yes, we knew that he played well at the BMW the week before, and a lot of people were expecting Scotty just to run away with it, especially given that he had the head start. But looking back at, like I said, I watched the highlights after each round. The thing for me was his putting. Like the texture on his ball, it was rolling end over end on every single putt.
There wasn't 1 millimeter of wobble, was there?
No. So maybe that's why he's won 18 million in the last 2 weeks, and I'm sitting in my garage talking with you, gents. But not that
Oh, he's frozen there.
Yeah, we've just lost PeeKay there for a second, but he
It's a bad thing, but yeah.
We just lost you there for a second, PeeKay. You were basically saying that we're all sitting in our garages.
I wasn't sure if
we're
it was, yeah.
We're not very good golfers, which is pretty obvious. We lost you after that, but I get the gist was that Hovland is a great player. Schauffele second, Wyndham Clark third, Rory, Patrick Cantlay, Colin Morikawa, Tommy Fleetwood, and Scotty Scheffler, who started the week on -10. Just finished at -11. Not a great way to round out his season. Poults, you had some notes on
well, for me, what was surprising, well, not surprising, just an amazing thing was Xander shot 62 on Sunday and made up a shot. So you're right, Phil. Victor put on a clinic. For me, the big thing that's improved over the last 18 months or 2 years is chipping and pitching. It used to be an automatic bogey at least when he'd miss a green, but he looks so comfortable now that if he misses a green, he's got a range of shots that he can trust and go back to. And I think he's putting with more confidence because he's chipping closer and his approach shots are closer as well. But Scotty Scheffler, 30 blokes in the field, he was number 30 in putting. And for the number one player in the world to shoot 1 under in the week, it's just not what you expect. Started 10 under, just like he did last year. Last year he shot 3 over in the final round and Rory ran him down. But such a phenomenal player, tee to green. He's got to sort that putter out. He's putting like someone who's scared of what could go wrong instead of giving himself a chance of what might go right. We're not forgetting that between like November and July, this guy didn't finish outside the top 12, but he's only had 2 wins for the season. Victor's now had 3, and Victor just got hot at the right time of year. There's something with Scotty between his ears. Rory had it a while ago, I think, where he didn't trust his putter. It can't be a good sign that you're changing your putter the week of the Tour Championship. There's some demons there. For him to hit more greens than anyone else in the year and be about, I think I saw at one stage he was knocking on the door of top 5 percentage of greens in regulation for the season. There's something going on with Scotty's putting. He just doesn't trust himself. He's certainly given himself enough looks and hitting it close enough, but there's something there that doesn't allow him to pull the trigger or trust his stroke or whatever it might be. And compare that with the line on Victor's ball, or if you look at Cam Smith when he putts, very different, isn't it?
Oh,
yeah,
absolutely.
well, like Victor, what was he topped the field or was tied for first in 6 of the the stats categories from the weekend, and one of them was like strokes gained total, and he gained 14 shots on the field. So, like you said, it's just
in putting alone on Sunday, I think Scotty lost over 3 shots and Victor was close to 4 shots. So it was about 7 shots on the green alone on Sunday that Victor gained over Scotty Scheffler. And you can't be winning tournaments if you're giving away 7 shots just with the flat stick on one day.
Definitely not. Any other things to take out of that? We've got a few permutations for Ryder Cup selections. This chat around Justin Thomas seems to grow more legs. Depending on which way you sort of read, it looks like he's going to be picked.
Would you pick him, Ross?
No, I've said that last week. I would go against what Jeff Ogilvy has said, who was got a lot of coverage for saying that the American team would be mad not to pick him. He's one of the best head-to-head match players that the game's ever seen. So be it.
What about the Instagram post by Brooks's missus with him in the I think it was a USA shirt or something, eating a slice of pizza? Do you take anything from that, saying that basically book your plane ticket?
So I saw the picture. I didn't read the but it was about Brooks, right?
Yeah.
If Brooks is in. Brooks is in. You have to take Brooks.
I'd agree with that.
You have to take Brooks.
Major winner, I think second. He won the PGA. I think he was second in the Masters with Phil, for memory. He's a big time player, and he's shown it in the past. I know JT has too, but he's not hitting it where he's aiming, which is a pretty crucial part of being able to get the ball around, isn't it?
Yeah.
I get that it must be a very hard decision, and part of me thinks that he might just get picked. Like if I was picking him, I'd be picking on form. But they've got a couple of weeks off. Do Do you have a little sneaky closed session? A couple of head-to-head matches. We talked about you and your pennant squad up there. There's no free rides in pennant. The days of mates getting picked over mates. The best pennant players in Melbourne have to earn their spot in their team, and their stroke players is a factor of that. If they're not playing well in the club stroke play competitions and they're expected to play, like I know at the Metros, the Kingston Heaths, if the guys don't turn up for the stroke play and don't demonstrate their performance there, then they get excluded or discounted. And then of course they have to turn up for the head-to-head practice matches. Do they have to have a few head-to-heads? Doesn't JT need to prove it? I don't know. That sounds a bit silly, but you know what I mean. What I'm saying? Like he's got to prove it to me.
The automatic qualifiers that they've got at the moment are Scheffler, Wyndham Clark, Brian Harmon, Cantlay, Max Homer, and Xander. Koepka was in until very recently. So blokes that you've got above JT on the points are Koepka, Spieth, Cam Young, Morikawa, Keegan Bradley, Sam Burns, Ricky Fowler, who's had a win this year, Denny McCarthy are all ahead of him. Now, I don't think Denny McCarthy will necessarily get there, but the other blokes you could mount a case for, behind him in 16th place for the US points is Lucas Glover. You've seen what he's been able to do in the last month or so. I'd probably be inclined to pick Glover ahead of Thomas on form at least.
I think that's what the golfing world's getting their head around, the potential that might be the case, or Keegan Bradley, over a JT.
They made the tough call with Phil, who'd never missed a President's Cup, so it'll be interesting to see what they do here with JT. I know he's been successful and done very well in the past, but he's just out of form, similar to what Spieth was not that long ago, who was able to turn it around.
PeeKay, you got some thoughts there?
They're to put it to a football analogy as well. It's like they're relying on the chemistry. So he can be having a rubbish month, week, however long, like 6 months, like he's been, but the common denominator is that people will say, "Oh, look, he teams up so well with Spieth, and if Ricky gets a spot, then it's going to be like spring break. It'll be Fowler, Spieth, and JT. It'll be the crew." Now, whether or not you want to just put him, basically for the four ball or the foursomes, then just basically accept maybe a loss on the singles. I don't know, but it's tough.
You've got 156 give or take on the average event. I know that the last month or so has been a much smaller field, so you can flip through the cracks a little bit. In the fishbowl of a Ryder Cup, you can't hide, and you can't afford to take someone in when there's 12 blokes. So you can't afford to take someone in, I think, who's underperforming. Look, I'd love it if they proved us wrong and they picked him and he went all right for his sake, but I just think it's too much to pick someone who's so far off his best. He's obviously got a better chance if they don't pick the live guys, but again, Koepka, how can you leave him out?
Yeah,
it's going to be.
Sorry, go on. Yeah,
no, you go.
I was just going to say, like people are saying in comparison to JT, they're saying, look, Bryson did, what do you say, 116 shots over 2 rounds, and compared to JT's last tournament, and he in 2 rounds he had 160 shots.
Yeah. Guess it doesn't matter in match play if you're going to have an 8 on a hole, really, does it? You lose the hole regardless. But I'd be agreeing with you, Ross. I wouldn't be picking him if I was Zach.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see how it pans out. On the European side, we had the D&D Real Czech Masters last week. It was won by Todd Clements. Now, Todd Clements is not a golfer that I know a lot about. I didn't get to see Todd's -9, 9 under final round to clinch it by 1 over Mad Matt Wallace. Matt Wallace.
Last round, isn't it?
It was a great last round. So I didn't get to see it. It was a bit late for me by the time it all got done, and I was sort of more flicking over to the Asian Tour. I was trying to get a sneak peek of Blakey. He was messaging me, I've got you tomorrow morning when you wake up. I'm going to be the winner of the Teepster. You've got no chance. And which he of course that was he already knew. So I watched a little bit more of that Asian Tour, and I missed Todd Clements. But I guess back to that Ryder Cup theme, you can really see the players there to that are vying for some of those spots. You know, Matt Wallace, Højgaard. I think McIntyre's already done and dusted.
And a strong finish for him doesn't hurt either.
Yeah, exactly.
And
Ludwig, you know, I'm still a Ludwig fan. If Ludwig doesn't get, he won't get. I don't think he'll get picked. But you'd put him, you know, you'd bring him along. You'd put him on the plane and put him in a uniform and give him an assistant captain's role or something like that, wouldn't you? To just get him around the environment of being in.
If you're looking for him to take part in future Ryder Cup events, it's probably not a bad call. So just look at the European team. You're going to have obviously Tyrrell, Rory, John Rahm, and Victor Hovland.
Mm-hmm.
Do you like the way they select the team, having points and then captain selections, or would you prefer top 12 on points? What's your preference there?
I'd prefer a bit more structure. You know, like they've got the European, the world points, the European points, and I just like a little more a simplified approach. I don't know if that is an answer, but you know, I just want it simple. What about you, PeeKay? What would you do?
Yeah, look, basically again something similar to what the US team use in terms of, like, I think theirs is on their money that they earn. But yeah, like I said, just have one list, you know, top 6 off this list between point A to point B.
Yeah.
Then you're in. Because otherwise you'll have, you know, you could have the guys that are on, you know, guaranteed top 3 in one list. Then, you know, do they not turn up to certain events if they don't need the points? Yeah, like I said, keep it simple. One list makes it easy for, you know, the Joe Blow to follow and know, you know, who's in and who's out.
So is Bobby Mack in? He's obviously one of our favourites.
He is now. Yep, he's rated number 3, your favourite. So it's Rory's the highest point scorer, and then John Rahm, Big Shot Bob, Victor, Tyrrell, and Tommy are the 6 that are in at the moment. And then there's 6 more captains picks. So they've got the same system on the bubble. Moronk, Matt Fitzpatrick. I reckon Fitzpatrick will get in. Sepp Straka are all nearby, and they're probably going to get the nod. I think those 3.
Yannick Paul, is he?
Yeah, he's at the moment he is right up there. I think I saw.
And is Victor Perez another one that's sort of around?
Victor Perez is there. Højgaard.
Yeah.
Lowry's got to be in the conversation. Do you go to Alex Noren? Yeah, there's a few options there, but I'm looking forward to it. Ryder Cup for me is a special week.
Yeah, and it's good to see, Victor playing so well. You know, hopefully he can keep that form. Obviously, you know, I'll declare my European allegiance again this year. I've always declared it every year, but every the Ryder Cup's been on, I'm a Europe fan. But
what a surprise!
Yeah, exactly right. Big Shot Bob, you know, like go Bobby.
Can we see any Italians being picked for the home crowd favourite?
Who?
Well, that's like.
Guido's the highest rank that they've got here, but he's well down the list. So I'm not sure that they will be.
Migliotti, Paratore, and there's only one other that really is Zanotti has shown any sort of level of form. I think Zanotti was up there for a wee bit on the leaderboard over the weekend, but I can't remember exactly where he finished. Francesco, Eduardo Molinari finished T11. Old Dodo.
I heard that he, I think it was him that got tapped on the shoulder by Victor as the stats guru to analyse his game a little bit and to see how he goes. And they figured out that Victor was basically being too aggressive and shooting at pins. So Victor being a bit of the, Molinari being a bit of the stats guru has helped Victor out on some course management, which has obviously paid off for him when he's earning 18 million US in a fortnight. It's going all right for him.
The thing I like about Eduardo Molinari is that, again, he's shown this ability to bounce back from a pretty ordinary time. And it was an extended period of time when he wasn't playing that well, putting terribly and all that sort of thing. And, he's popped up at T11 in the D&D Czech Masters. Okay, he's shown this year that he's still got some golf in his game. And I love those stories. He's been around. He's almost like one of the senior veterans of the DP World Tour now. Of course, he's still got his brother playing there. But what a way to play your golf. You and your brother turning up the tournaments and helping out a few of the younger guys, turning up to.
Did they win a World Cup years and years ago, the brothers?
Oh, I probably did. I don't know. I don't know. It's a guess.
Speaking of comebacks, would you pick Ricky in your team?
Yeah, I would.
Yeah. Yeah, it was good to see him get a win. I think it was a Rocket Mortgage earlier in the year. Good to see him back. Speaking of comebacks.
The one there, because he's also had a win fairly recently, is back to the US for a second, is Keegan. Yeah. I think he's
playing well, if they had the top 12 on points, he'd be there.
Yep.
Yeah. He'd be right on the edge, I think.
It's going to be interesting to see how they all pan out. Obviously the US Tour has a week off now. Got the Canadian Tour event this weekend. I don't know anything about that, so haven't been following the Canadian Tour, so can't really offer any discussion around that. But the European Tour continues in their season. The Amiga European Masters at Cran-sur-Sierre. This is one that I think I like staying up for and watching, because it's a little bit for me like the golf version of the Tour de France. And I'm clearly not a bike rider. I did have a little bit of a bike ride back in the day in my Sydney years, PK. And when we were at Parramatta Park the other week, I did used to go and do the 3.2K lap 8 times before work in Sydney a long time ago. That was as close as I got to calling myself a bike rider. But I remember being infatuated by the Tour de France, obviously through the French Alps, and sometimes it juts into the Swiss Alps a little bit, just for the scenery. And this is a little bit like that for me. I think the course is okay. It's got some quirk about it. I think Sevy's had a go at designing, changing it, and I'm not sure that there's anything really standout about it, but it's just an amazing venue. And I think it's one that all the players who play love going to. It's one that I enjoy watching, but more so for the scenery. I'm not sure if you guys remember much about Cran-sur-Sierre.
Is this where the ladies, like the European ladies, have their major? Or am I thinking of something different?
No, that's Evian. You think about the Evian?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not the same place.
Not the same. Okay.
Not too far away, but it's on the other French Alps in the Evian side, but it also equally picturesque. But this is like summer it's a golf course and winter it's a ski field. Yeah,
ski lodge now. Right next to the tee, there's a few.
You can see the gondolas for the tee bars and the chairs and whatever. So it's who we got this week? We've got one Aussie in the field. One Aussie. Do you want to have a guess at who the one Aussie is in the field?
I have a feeling you might know him, Ross. Might know him well.
I won't say I know him well, but he is a former pro-am partner. But he's not having the greatest time on tour at the moment. It's Blake Windred, the big Novocastrian. Blake Windred is the only Aussie in the field, I believe. Jason Scrivener has dropped out, and Blake Windred was the first reserve. He gets elevated. So, but it's unusual for it to only just have the one Aussie in a European tour event. But
I think there's a few of them over at the Corn Ferry.
Final stage. Is it
the final stage?
Is it stage one, or I think it's stage one or something like that?
It must be pretty close, because I saw Dimmy Papadakis was on the range on Instagram leading up to it.
So they've got, I think it might be next week, the stage one. I don't know, but what I do know is young Harvey Young, who's a member at PeeKay, he's playing in the DP World stage one qualifying here in Australia. This kicked off today down at Rosebud, just down the road. He mentioned to me last week when I bumped into him that he was going to the Corn Ferry stage one. So it must be the week after.
Yeah.
I guess we've got back to the Cran-sur-Sierre, we've got Matt Fitzpatrick playing, got Danny Willett playing, both major champions. Alex Fitzpatrick is playing. Daniel Hillier from New Zealand. The Hoygaards are in. So there's still, a bit of that whole, we've got to play this week and form this whole Ryder Cup scenario. Moronk, another one of the podcast pro-am partners, George, as I like to refer to him, otherwise known as Jorge Campillo. He's playing. Yannick Paul's in. Guido Moglozzi.
I'll go Moronk for the win on that one, I think. For no reason whatsoever except he's a podcast favourite.
Okay. He is a podcast favourite.
I was going to say Fitzpatrick, but now that the Ronk is in after his form in Australia and he often gets a mention, he'll do.
Okay. I'm not sure. I like Moronk. I'm a big fan, but I think that the course demands a little bit more placement off the tee.
Rather than the bombing gouge.
It's more fairways, scrambling, and a bit of a putt fest there. It's obviously at altitude, the ball travels an exceptionally long way. There's a couple of drivable par fours, with like 3 woods and 3 hybrids on this course. I think it sets up well for a Fitzpatrick.
Also got Daniel Hillier in the field, the Kiwi from over the Dutch.
Yep.
He's having a hit. But only one Aussie. Yeah,
Bobby.
Maybe Miguel Angel can get us another hole in one and do his little dance as well. That'd be nice.
We've got the two Champions Tour or Seniors Tour players playing. Padraig. I think Padraig could. I'd love to see Padraig. I would love to see Padraig go well. Again, talking about Ryder Cup, he's not going to get picked for the Ryder Cup, but in terms of form, both in the senior and playing on tour, he's played pretty well this year. He's had a good year. I think a couple of runners up in 2 of the senior major championships, one in the US and the British men's senior open the other week. He's playing really well. I'd love to see Patrick just play well and just keep nibbling away. I'm not sure if he's part of the Ryder Cup team as an assistant or anything like that, but I do like Patrick, and I've mentioned that before. PeeKay, you got a tip? Oh no, there we go. There's another podcast Pro-Am partner playing. We've got 3 podcast Pro-Am partners in the one event. That might be an all-time high. David Howe is also playing. Good luck to you, David. Good luck to you, David.
I'll go with Yannick Paul.
Okay.
Ross?
I probably said Matt Fitzpatrick. It sets up well for him. I'll give him another go after him not getting the job done for me last week. I'll go with Matt Fitzpatrick, but I'll be looking for something special from Padraig and Ludwig. I'm still on the Ludwig train, so hopefully Ludwig Aberg can do something well. And just again keep nibbling away at the I'm here if you need me.
It'd be a great time for him to get a win with what's coming up at the end of next month, wouldn't it?
Correct.
Yep.
Okay. We talked about Brooke Henderson last week in the CPKG, the CP Women's Open in Canada. Brooke Henderson didn't play her best. I don't think she made the cut. But we had Hannah Green in T4. Megan Kang, American, won that event. Jin Young Ko finished second, and Ronning Yin finished third. But Hannah Green playing pretty well. The women moved to the Portland Classic this week. I don't know much about the Portland Classic. I know we've got a few Australians. We've got Suo, who made it in through her re-ranking or ranking wherever she sits. Hannah Green, Karis Davison, Grace Kim, Steph Kiriakou. Sure who I like here. I'm going to pick Furuwe, Ayaka Furuwe. You guys want to have a pick?
I see Nelly Corder is equal second favourite. I think she's always going to be in the conversation. Brooke Henderson's a bit further down the line. I'll go for Charlie Hull at $21.
Okay, good value.
For no reason again. You've probably seen why I'm down the lower end of Teepster.
No, I like the strategy. I like the strategy. It can finish you down low one year and up high the next year.
I'm playing for draft picks, much like my footy team. We're better off next year.
There are some past champions in the field. Andrea Lee, Georgia Hall, Hannah Green, as we mentioned, Marina Alex, Stacey Lewis, Brooke Henderson is in. And we've got, I think there's 13 winners on the 2023 winners in the field. So it's a strong field. Alison Corpuz is in the field. Lynn Grant is in the field. Hannah Green, I've mentioned that. Lilia Vu is in the field. Ronning Yin's in the field, obviously. So there's plenty of winners, playing. And quite a few rookies in the field, which is great. Alexa Pano is a rookie and won the other week in Europe, last week in Europe. Good to see her playing again. Be looking for big things from Alexa Pano.
See Lexi Thompson in there as well. Well down in the order. What's happened to her golf lately? Any ideas?
I don't know. I just don't think she's obviously been playing that well, but
playing like us.
Well, I think she's playing better than us, but no, I just don't think she's had a great time of it on course. And,
maybe send her a DM and see if she's available for the Eastern Pennants.
Might have to. Yeah, she might get a game.
An impressive golfer. I remember watching her for maybe 3 or 4 holes at the Solheim Cup on the final day in the singles at Glen Eagles, and goodness gracious, a very, very strong golf. It was so spectacular to see all the women at that event. It was a great event, but to see, at that time she was a huge name in the game, and notably one of the strongest and longest in the women's game. It was great to see her perform. Okay, what else, gents? We've probably the Asian Tour. We had the Asian Tour last week, run by Eugenio Chikara, expertly refereed by David Blake, and we had 2 Aussies in second and third. Matt Jones after a monumental 10-hole playoff.
10-hole playoff.
That must be one of the hardest things to put away, a 10-hole playoff. I don't know if
I have a feeling he was in another long playoff at some stage, a 7-hole playoff somewhere, but to lose it after 10 holes, that's light has to be an issue. You must be fatigued. I can't imagine the concentration you must have for an extra couple of hours of golf. Again, the spotlight just on you and not many others.
Again, I couldn't stay up that late to watch it. I was watching a good chunk of it, and he was going on nicely. And I don't know Eugenio Chikara's final scorecard. He was sort of there or thereabouts and sort of loitering. But to have a 10-hole playoff, you just couldn't imagine it. But it provided them a bit of a test. 19 under was the winning score, but it wasn't easy on them, that course, that St Andrews Fairmont course. And I think I called it last week a modern links, and most of the commentators sort of referred to it as not a classic links, but still links-ish in terms of the weather and the conditions, and that it's maybe not as firm as the links, but sort of had that links feel. And I've not played it, but I wouldn't mind going and having a look at it one day. Wade Ormsby, that was good to see another podcast pro-am partner finish in T8, and he didn't make any ground on the Asian Tour Order of Merit leader Andy Ogletree, but he's certainly at the pointy end is Wade Ormsby in that Asian Tour Order of Merit. Now, gents, I want to have a giveaway, and I want to do a series of giveaways on the podcast. It's all part of this, giving back. I've been very, very lucky in my time in the golf industry. I want to try and give a few things away. I've got a couple of things here that I can give away, and you guys are the giveaway kings. Why is it that I refer to you both as the giveaway kings? Poults, I'll go to you first. What is it about a giveaway that you seem to be able to get? How many giveaways have you won?
Oh, I don't know. No, too many. I actually won one recently. I didn't even realize I was in it.
Oh, geez.
And I checked back through the criteria, and I'm pretty sure I haven't done that. But I'm not sure if it's just liking or commenting or letting someone else know about it. Then I'm all keen to do that. I've done okay over the years, like you've alluded to. Got a golf bag out of it, a pair of shoes, and enough golf balls to keep me busy for a while. But some of my favourite Aussie brands are keen to spread their goodwill by doing good giveaways as well. So I'm always keen to jump on and support some brands if possible, by letting others know how amazing they are. There's so many good brands doing wonderful things that you might not have heard of. So looking forward to hearing what you've got, Roscoe.
Well, just talk about you and your support of these other smaller brands, and they're not the traditional brands. You can't come into a drum and golf store and find a lot of these brands, and they're startups, and and they've all got a great concept. But you do a wonderful job of supporting them, through your followers that you've amassed online and socially, so on and so forth. Who are some of the favourite brands that you sort of like to look towards here in Australia?
Yeah, some that you might have heard of. Clutch & Co.
Mhm.
with Dom and Hugh are going great guns, and I've got a few of their shirts, and they're just comfortable. A lot of people say that the price point is a bit cheaper than the big brands, but to me, it's how comfortable and easy to wear they are. 5 Yard Fade with Rod and a few of his mates. Great with hats, especially. There's a few other things like that you would have heard of. Caddy Snacks are amazing. Big Dog Golf, they're the best, the highest quality wool covers that I know of. Gray and Harst is a new Aussie company, so I like seeing basically Aussie people having a go.
Yeah.
Is something that I like. So instead of going to the brands that everyone's heard of, I like finding something a little bit left of centre and seeing what they can offer. Aussie brands are great. I will go to an Aussie shop personally before I go and look at one of the big brands that are offshore.
Okay, what about you? What's your strategy with your winning ways on the giveaways?
Well, yeah, like I said, I was introduced to the giveaways from Poults, and it's just comes back to just being part of a golf community. So whether it's like I said, you have some people who just tag anyone and everyone. I am part of I guess you can say like a group chat on Instagram where we'll tag each other. They're all over the States or Canada. So again, some of those are restricted ones. So if we see, say for example, if I see it on a page, then I'll tag them or put it in the group chat and say, look, this is USA only. But yeah, like I said, it's just a most of the times it's like Poult said, it's a startup, so it's helping them to get traction, get their name out there. And if it means that, like I said, I can get a hat or some balls or ball marker or just even something like stickers, a welcome addition. Like I said, I'm more than happy to get involved and like I said, spread the word that way.
Well, I'm going to give away something because I want to hear from some of the listeners out there, and hopefully we can get some new listeners, and you guys can help maybe share it with your listeners or followers. I want to hear more stories about the love of golf. This podcast, as I alluded to at the start, is called the My Love of Golf, but it's certainly not about me and my love of golf. I'm far more interested in hearing about your stories and why you love golf and how you get involved in things like this and how you help other people and other brands and all of those really nice things. And, what I do know about this great game and all the people around it, and certainly I get to see more than your fair share of people that are in and around it through the benefit of what I do. I spend most of my working days talking to people about golf, how they can get better at golf, how I can help them with clubs or not help them with clubs, setting up someone's bag. And, today I set up someone's bag for them, and they ended up taking less clubs because we agreed that this is a better strategy for them. But anyway, things like that, helping golf and understand people why they want to play golf and be around golf. I love it. There are a heap of stories, a heap of good people, a heap of great experiences, a heap of interesting and funny stories. It doesn't matter what level or breadth of story. I want to hear about them, and we want to share some of those stories. And I'm going to ask you two guys to help me share those stories along the way. So I might invite you back sporadically, and you might become part of a judging panel to help pick these stories. So you're going to help, with this giveaway part of this. And I've got a giveaway. It's a big brand, so it's not a small brand, Poults, but it's actually, it's a quality brand and one that I'm very fond of because, we talk about these Pro-Am partners that I've had and amassed. And I've been very, very blessed and very lucky. Well, it's only couldn't have, those stories and have those great experiences without the support of Bushnell. They've been a very good supporter of mine personally here at the podcast and letting me make those connections with those people and get some great insights for. We're going to give away a Bushnell Tour V6, and it won't be the last Bushnell product we give away. So when we have announced this giveaway, I'm announcing there is going to be a giveaway. I'm announcing that it's going to be, the best story of this run of stories that people want to share with us. You'll be able to access that on our socials. So you'll see the link, the social post come out. It won't be part of this social post, but you'll see the social post come out. There'll be a link there. All you need to do is go and fill in the form, tell us your story, tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we're going to recount some of those stories. And maybe the best story might even join us on the podcast. And you two gents here, the giveaway kings of Australia, can help be part of this, sharing this love of golf from some of these great stories. As I say, they don't have to be, you don't have to have played with someone or done anything. It can be any story, but we're going to choose a great story. And the first giveaway we're going to have is this Tour V6 Bushnell laser rangefinder, which I'm pretty sure that it's a pretty good giveaway price. Did you agree?
Absolutely. Got slope and vibrate and everything, doesn't it?
Not this one. This is the Tour V6. It's not the Tour V6 Shift. It's just
okay.
It's just the Tour V6. We might end up, if the good people at Bushnell like what we do, we might end up with a Tour V6 Shift. Who knows? But there we go. There it is, right there.
It's definitely a fantastic way to start the giveaways.
Brand new
So
box.
quite simply, they've got to say why they love golf or a story about something from golf that's struck a chord with them.
When the post comes out with the link on the to fill in the form, it'll just be tell us your story about golf. It'll all be very self descriptive there. Just follow the bouncing ball. Tell us why you love golf. We'll assess. We'll read some of those stories, and we'll pick a winner out of that round, and then we'll help share your story. And whether you want to come on the podcast or not, that's up to you. That doesn't really matter. But we'll just have this great little story, and we'll pick a winner. We'll give away a Bushnell to spread the love of golf.
Sounds great.
I reckon that'll get us off to a start with sharing other people's love of golf. I think that'll go all right.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
I love the fact that we've got this connection. We can go to a game of soccer in Sydney and catch up. We can go out to Eastern or come down to PeeKay. Remember that day we played golf at PeeKay? It was like
smoky.
When the fires were on. Yeah. So we'll have to do all of that again. PeeKay, you might have to come down and play PeeKay. When are you coming to Melbourne? Is there any plans to come to Melbourne?
Well, I would definitely like to. I must admit, it's been on the to-do list for a number of years now. But yeah, for me, there's a photo that I need. It's me wearing a PeeKay hat. So it'll be PeeKay wearing a PeeKay hat, about to go play at PeeKay. So
you'd buy the whole pro shop, I reckon.
It's got to happen. It's got to happen.
So you made a PeeKay hat like that one there. That's it.
Yes.
What color do you like? What's your favorite color?
I'm open to anything.
Okay, that's a harder Midlothian color. That's
I knew that would be a special connection for you.
Just on that, Roscoe, what's your favourite hole at PeeKay?
Okay, favourite hole at PeeKay is. That's a good question. North or south? Can we north?
Let's go north.
One of each. North. It is the 14th, par 3. You know the one?
Is that the best to? Is that your favourite to play or to photograph?
I think the stats would show that it's not my favourite to play. I find it a tough hole. I've always found it a tough hole to par. It was one of the holes that Mike Cocking, Clayton redid very, very, very well. Had a terrible false front in the first iteration of that green. It wasn't terrible. It was just a false front, and it was a little bit unfair for sometimes a very good shot. Now it's a much fairer but no less challenging green. It looks magnificent. You can take a good photo of it from any angle, front on, side on. Any of the guests that I've had down there, I'll always make sure I get a photo of them on the tee box with that green, and in the background, there's a hill behind it which goes up to the 12th of the 12th of the north, and so it's got a little amphitheatre around the green. And it just looks fantastic, all the bracken fern up there. So yeah, I like that hole, but I could probably list a couple of others. I like the 18th. It's hard not to like the 18th, but yeah, I'll say the 14th on the north. You want the south as well?
Yeah.
The south course, I think my favourite hole is have to be the 13th. remember the 13th? Poults, the par 4, the little dam on the left there. Got the fairway
probably
bunker.
went in it if it's on the left.
Fairway bunkers on the right. It's not an easy hole. A little
I
bit.
think we started on about the 11th. Is that right? Is there a 10 and an 8 rather than a 9 and a 9?
Yeah, the 11th is near the road there, and we tee up there. 12th.
12 downhill.
Did I say the 13th?
Yeah.
13th. Yeah, the 13th. Yeah, I like that hole.
Yeah. The reason I asked about your favourite hole is that some questions that are floating around on my Instagram, the most popular question I get is, what's your favourite hole?
Okay.
And there's so many variables. If you say the favourite hole on a course, then you can sort of place it a little bit more. But like what Phil was saying, favourite to play, favourite to look at, favourite to watch on, very, very different.
How many, we sort of opened up the podcast again. We're just about to close it off. We might have to reclose off we might have to edit out the close off and reclose it. How many questionnaires do you put out? It's like a Monday. It seems to be like a Monday.
It comes
thing.
out on Monday. And part of the reason it comes out on Monday is because there's just you spend 5 hours with your mates on the course on the weekend, and then a lot of questions come up. So most of the questions that I ask have just been, I'll settle it. It started out because someone very close to you two right now happened to putt off a green and then chipped up and knocked it in. So I was on a par 5 and 2, putted off the green, chipped up and made par. And it was a putting comp that day amongst our little group. And my mate said, so 3 putts? I said, no, I only had 2 shots on the green, so it's 2 putt. And then I went to Instagram and said, how many putts would this be? And I give an option and it spits out your percentages. So some of my favourite questions I have an interest in because we've discussed it on the round throughout. So one of the questions on the weekend was, you'd beat Donald Trump, wouldn't you? So I asked the people, and the most popular question I get, because I give an opportunity for people to ask questions, is what's your favourite hole? But it's just far too broad. If you say favourite hole to play in Victoria, then you've probably got a little bit, the parameters are set a little bit more. I get a lot of hate for it. I think some people don't understand that I'm not answering the question. I'm asking the question, and then people respond with whatever they want. And I give some options, and you can only give 4 options, so it's not always the best system to run it. So that's how it started. Monday, the kids are in bed, and I'm not really watching TV that much, so it just sort of came out on a Monday. It's been going about 6 or 8 weeks now.
Do you keep the answers?
I've got you can go back and have a look at them. So I've got a couple here that are my favourites. I've just got 3 questions that I'll run past you boys if you've got time.
Fire away.
Should there be free golf for kids?
Yes.
So
that's how I started.
Yeah, I think so too. And I've heard your stories, Ross, about how you started, and there were 70 juniors or something like that on a Sunday morning. 98% of people say yes.
You know how much it cost us for the Sunday sub-junior comp at Cessnock with John Linnetson and his father and Kay Linnetson, who put that whole suite of week in, week out 9-hole competitions. We played for like glass crystalware, that was the trophy. Like you didn't get it. You might have got a rocket or a hot dot and a bit of glass crystalware. And you just to cherish these glass, just crystalware, 75 cents.
Yeah, wow.
That's how much it was, 75 cents. Wasn't even $1.
Nothing these days, would it?
Sorry.
All right. Next question I wanted to run past you. Should you get free relief from divots on a fairway?
I'm pretty firm on this one.
I'll die on this hill.
Okay, you go first.
Look, the chances of me actually finding a fairway, let alone a divot in the fairway, is pretty minimal. So I'm happy to play it as it lies. Although, being in a social club, we do have preferred lie in the fairway, so it's a bit of a moot point.
Okay. I value my friendship with the number 1 golf rules official in Australia too much to say anything other than no.
Now, it might be unpopular, but if you're playing with mates, kick it out, throw it out, do what you want if it doesn't matter. But 70% of people said yes, you should. My 2 cents. there's no definition of a divot. How do you know what a divot is? When does a divot become repaired? What's the difference between a divot and a bad lie? There's too many grey areas for mine. So I don't think you should. I think it's just part of the game. It's unfortunate, but I can't see how you could define what a divot is enough to remove it. I think Mark Leishman at St Andrews in a playoff hit one down one in a divot, made bogey, and it was a 4-hole playoff, and he lost. And I don't think he lost by one in the playoff, but I think it contributed to it. Maybe 2010 when Louis won. I just can't see how you can say that's definitely a divot, that's definitely not, or it's semi-repaired, or your ball could be in it, or it might be not. There's too many variables for me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Agree. The simple thing is fill your divots, take a sand bucket and fill it so they grow back quicker than not filling it, and hopefully you have to play out of less divots.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Okay. I like this. Give me another one.
All right. Favorite men's major.
That's an easy one for me too. PeeKay.
Easy for you, Phil.
I've always been Masters, always been Augusta.
Okay. I'm the Open.
Yours, Roscoe.
Yeah, I'm the Open. Yeah.
So there was 69% Masters, 38% the Open, and 1% US Open.
For me, the criteria on that is I've never been to a Masters, so I can't really say a like-for-like comparison. I've had the privilege of going to 2 Opens now, and I'll go to my 3rd next year at Royal Troon, which is the same as my first. 2016, I went to Royal Troon, the Open last year at St Andrews, and then I'll go to Royal Troon next year. Now, I missed out.
Aren't you going to the women's at St Andrews as well next year?
I'm going to try and go to the 4 events that are in Scotland in July, August next year. So we've got the women's AIG at St Andrews. I think that'll be absolutely monumental to go and spend a day or so walking around St Andrews and being able to get, there's just got to be less people than there was at the 150th. That's a given. But I think there'll still be plenty of people there. But to get up close and see the women play the old course, I think that's once in a generation sort of thing for me. Then you've got the seniors Open, I think it's at Carnoustie, and then obviously the other event that's in Scotland at that time is the Trust Women's at Dundonald, which is a place that I'm pretty fond of. So I wouldn't mind trying to get to all 4 of those if time, weather, holidays, etc. permits. I know a couple of people in Scotland, so hopefully it should be able to work. But back to the point is, I like the accessibility of the Open, and the thing that I think what makes the Masters great is its lack of accessibility, but in the same breath, I don't like the fact that it's so hard to get Masters tickets, and it's almost unobtainable, or it seems to be unobtainable. But that's the attraction of it as well. But the fact is that you can go into a ballot, pretty much get a ticket, and go to an Open and see such a wide range of very respectful spectators there. I really do like it.
No mashed potatoes over there, are there?
There's not many mashed potatoes or baba booies, no.
Yeah. Or get in the hole.
There's a drunk Scot or a drunk English fan isn't quite as abrasive as someone from the other side of the Atlantic. But they're not perfect either. There's a few beers getting downed at the Open last year, and a few people out on course on the Sunday having a bit of fun, usually in a little bit more spirited sort of way of going about it. But anyway, they're not perfect. Any others? Thoughts? Or are we just going to leave it at that?
I've got one more that I'll run past you. Phil, you'd be a good one to answer this because I think we know Ross's. Is it worth getting fit when buying new clubs?
Yes, I'm currently going down this pathway now. Also going to be with Drum & Golf Store. 100%.
I think if you want to enjoy your golf, I'm okay if I get to the stage where I'm introducing someone to the golf and they don't want to spend a heap of money initially, want to see if golf is right for them. Yeah, grab a secondhand set or a mate's old set, that's fine. But I think it's actually going to be cheaper in the long run if you get something that's fitted for you and suits you, and it's definitely going to be better. You can trust the stores a lot more than buying offline. It's going to be suited to you and your swing and where you are in your golf progress. I just can't see why you wouldn't if you're a semi-serious golfer.
There's a number of aspects to getting fitted, and there's a wide variety of options for getting fitted. If you want to go down the whole, bespoke rabbit hole and get the fancy, upmarket, upcharge shafts, you can go that way. And I've seen plenty of examples where that sort of methodology has helped people, but I've seen plenty of examples where having the $700 shaft in the latest driver has not helped someone, and is actually been detrimental to their golf. So there's plenty of examples of that. But, just the fact that you're getting something fitted, especially for the newer golfers that, have come through clubs that they've bought maybe on Marketplace because they thought that was a good deal, or they knew the brand name, or they had a mate that said, get that because the other mate said that he had a set when he was, playing off 3 or whatever. All those variations and iterations, if you speak to someone who you can have a bit of trust with, they will generally point you in the right direction. Now, that direction can take a couple of ways. Using the chap that I mentioned there before as the example, older gentleman, 58, 6'6", and needed clubs that were really long, like 2 inches longer than standard. But he'd never been fitted before, so we identified that he was playing with irons that were old, lacking sort of the technology. They were Cobra baffle blades, beautiful old irons, but we gave him something that is going to suit him for now being 58 or 59, but also that's going to suit him when he's sort of 65, 67. And that was a real important part for me to explain to him. So he ended up in, a club that, really is going to suit him down the track, but it's going to do the job now because he's still swinging pretty fast. So, I had to explain to him. He said, I'm getting old, so I need to get more forgiving, lighter weight shafts. He was already sort of supposing that he was going to be old and, having to play the clubs that he watches his mates play with. But I said, listen, you're 6'6". Your circle of your swing is generating speed now, which most 35-year-olds don't generate. Just simply the geometrics of the way that speeds generates. And he was generating like 90 miles an hour of 7-iron clubhead speed. I said, the likelihood of probability that you're going to degrade from 90 miles an hour to 65 miles an hour in sort of 7 to 10 years is very unlikely. And if it does, well then, it's usually going to be from another factor like an injury or something like that. And then we can deal with that. We'll look at that. But right now, I want to build you a set of clubs that you can use now, but you are going to stay with you, through that sort of sphere of swing speed that you're going to sort of end up around. And, he told me that he's going to play more. He's getting some coaching. He's taking the game serious, which he hadn't done. He was late to the game, and he hit it really well. So we got him a really nice set of golf clubs with the right length, the right weight shaft, the right flex, the right grip size, the right lie angle for his height. And it's, I could already see the smile on his face.
So there's a lot to take into account there that you can't do from a Marketplace or your grandfather's set or your mate's old set, isn't there?
I'm a big advocate for playing golf is better than not playing golf. So if your only avenue into the game of golf is to get a set of clubs that way and hit a golf ball on a golf course into a hole, that's better than
not
umming and ahhing around. Should I get fitted, should I not? So I don't do it. Just get out there and play golf. I had another example of a 7-iron yesterday. A young, I didn't think I had any of these 7-irons left, and it was actually a Scottish couple that came in. Again, an older gentleman, 58, came in. I picked up on the accent. We had a great chat. I wasn't fitting him, but had a great chat. He was from Dumfries, which is down the borders. We had a bit of a football chat, of course. He knew I was a Heart of Midlothian fan. We very quickly worked out by the way I was talking. He was a Heart of Midlothian fan. He was a Rangers fan, unfortunately, but also a Gretna, not a Gretna, Queen of the South fan, playing the 3rd division. Anyway, then his wife joined, and then his daughter joined. His daughter was 21. She lived in Melbourne. They were from the country. I said, "Oh, you play golf?" She says, "No." And we had this great chat about her being sort of Scottish-born Australian. She had a funny accent, and not a fun. No, it wasn't a funny accent. She sounded like an English accent, but it was like Australian. But I asked her the whole questions. Can you speak in a Scottish accent when you speak to your parents and all that sort of thing? So we had that sort of familiar chat. I said, "Why aren't you playing golf?" She said, "I've never tried." I said, "Well, what if I give you a club? Would you try?" "Probably not." I gave her a club. I said, "Okay, just jump in there and have a hit." And all of a sudden, she's just swung this club back to like 10 o'clock, delivered it to impact. The ball's popped up into the screen. It's flown 50, 60 meters down the fairway. I said, "There you go. How good did that feel?" She said, that wasn't too bad. I said, "It was actually pretty good." She said, "No, it's rubbish." "No, it was pretty good. Do it again." And she had like 5 or 6. She just pinged these nice little chippy sort of 7-irons down the fairway. I put the 7-iron in a box. I said, "There you go." I said, "Now you can go and hang out with your dad when he plays golf and you can have your own club." And she went, "Thanks. Not sure if I'll use it, but if I don't have it, I won't. So I'll take it and I'll give it a go." There you go.
Yep.
Away you go. It's great.
Immediately a golfer, if she's expecting great things and not delivering, it's part of golf, isn't it?
I can only hope so. I can only hope that the young lady does. I said, if nothing else, your friends are going to go to the driving range and you can have your club rather than hitting, get back to the fitting point, rather than hitting your partner or your boyfriend or your mate's clubs. You can take your own club to the driving range and you can walk up with your own club and you can say, "I've got my own club, don't worry, it'll be fine." Have a glass of wine or whatever it is down at Albert Park Range, which they've redone and it looks magnificent, and do all of the social stuff and have a great time and hit golf balls with an appropriate club for her size, strength, height, and ability.
Sounds good. Well, just on that question, 92% of people thought that getting fitted was the way to go.
Good.
Yep.
Sorry, I've gone on. So you asked me a question. I'll go on a bit of a rant and sort of deliver a sort of sermon like. And I'm sorry, hopefully I haven't turned anyone off. But
very good,
gents. Again, thank you. Your support is immeasurable and valuable, and I appreciate both of you. And hopefully, I've lobbed that on you enough to say that you're going to help me choose my love of golf stories, and we'll probably see you back on here at some stage, helping. You as the giveaway kings, re-giving away. And I've got plenty of stuff to give away, and it might be big sometimes. It might not always be it won't always be the value of a Bushnell Tour V6 rangefinder, but I'll give something away more often than we have done as we sort of continue this journey of finding out people's loves of golf. Gents, thanks for joining. See you next week, eh?
Thanks for having me. Cheers, Ross.
Thanks, Roscoe.